Hello, everyone. We're going to be starting in a few minutes. In the meantime, love for you to introduce yourselves in the chat if you're in the live Zoom audience, or if you're watching this via live stream as well. Whether you're watching this on YouTube, LinkedIn, X now. I always have to remind myself that Twitter is now X, or Facebook. Please introduce yourselves in the chat or the comment. Let us know your name and also what city you're coming from. I love to see our global audience here. Aneta, who's here, is in Austria. So she's about 6 hours from time zone wise from where I'm at right now. So before we start, so lovely seeing everyone in the live Zoom audience. And thank you for everyone who's watching this via live stream on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, etc. We want you interacting in the comments and whatever platform you might be. So remember, introduce yourselves, what city you're coming from. If you want, you could also include your LinkedIn profile so you can kind of build your community on LinkedIn. Our community of 7 microlearnings helps our listeners elevate their mindset and skill set by bringing leading authors, coaches, executives, founders, and subject matter experts. Our goal is really to democratize leadership development for all. That's why we make these microlearnings free and open to the public, and also free now on our YouTube channel. So I want to thank our community of 7 core members and supporter members for supporting these talks with your membership dues. If you're interested in becoming a supporter membership, it's only $99 and you could join at Community of 7. And for those who are in the live Zoom audience, if you can, if you're comfortable, please turn on your videos, because I know for me as a speaker, and I can speak for Aneta as well, it's so much nicer when we can see your faces and see your expressions. And for those who are watching this via live stream on, outside of Zoom, we want you in the conversation as well. So if you have questions, suggestions, feedback, let us know in the comment section. So today's microlearning is really about how to go from being a solopreneur. And we tell the story of how Aneta quit her day job to live a purpose-driven life. So before we start, I always like to ask a quick question in the chat right now. If you're in the live Zoom audience, or if you're watching this via live stream, do it in the comments section. Let us know right now. Don't press send until I tell you whether you are currently a solopreneur, and just write solopreneur, whether you're employed, so employed by another company, just write employed, or if you're an aspiring solopreneur one day, or whether you're an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur meaning you might have staff. So are you a solopreneur, employed, aspiring solopreneur, or entrepreneur? Let us know in the comments. I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we have, and I'm watching on the live stream as well, we have a few people who are solopreneurs. We have a few people who are entrepreneurs as well. So it's a pretty diverse crew that we have coming today. Awesome. So before we begin, here's the $1 million question, right? Should you, or more importantly, can you turn your passion, your hobby, or your side hustle into a 6-figure solopreneur career? Today, we're going to hear from someone who has been able to turn their passion into a profession. And we're going to learn how you can do the same. However, I think it's important to note that if you're going to be moving from earning your side hustle into being your own boss, or if you're currently employed and have aspirations to start something in the future, you're going to really need to prepare. And we're going to go through all of the steps you need to take, and also obstacles Aneta has encountered being a solopreneur. I think it's really important that you're honest with yourself, and that you start planting the seeds long before you're ready to make the jump. And I think the problem that I mainly see, especially talking to my friends who are in corporate America, is that they wait too late, right? Because they're too busy building other people's brands. They're working these 9 to 5. And I get it. Some of us are raising kids. Some of us go home and we're just exhausted, right? How am I able to kind of hustle? And so the key, though, is that you need to start now, even if it's a matter of, don't wait till you get laid off to start networking. Don't wait till you want to start a business before you start building your personal brand. Make sense? So even if you're employed and you're not ready to make that leap, start on building your personal brand, start networking. I think about my kind of journey as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur. And when I was laid off at Fortune, I built Community of 7 relatively quickly. And everyone, I built it literally in 5-6 months. And everyone was like, how did you build this so quickly? And what I tried to tell them is that it wasn't an overnight success. It wasn't. Because a lot of the connections, when we first launched Community of 7, and it's morphed many times over since then, at first we had like a membership model. And I quickly shifted that just because I realized that I wanted a more of a solopreneur kind of model over I didn't want to get venture capital. I didn't want to have teams of 100, 200 people. I wanted something small so that I could travel, so I could spend time with my family. And so when we first launched, we had a core membership. And my first clients, Mita Malik, who I met, 6 years prior, when she was at Unilever and I was the general manager of See Her. One of my first members or clients was Rodney Williams, who is currently the president of Diageo Beer. And I had met him 10 years ago when I was at the Association of National Advertisers, and he was the CMO of Moet Hennessy. So I had built all of these relationships 10 years, 5 years ago. It wasn't an overnight success. It was basically relationships maintained and networking maintained over the years, right? So I think one of the key is don't wait. And let's be honest, there is often a stigma associated with solopreneurship, solo businesses, and it's, I think, false and flawed, right? It's almost like I remember growing up at Gen X, right? You either were employed by, a big company or a company that was kind of considered success, or you were an entrepreneur where you built these huge company. And I think today there is a movement that you don't need to necessarily be the next Zuckerberg. You don't need to build the next Facebook or the next Meta. You could build a really successful one-person business, or maybe two-person if you have a partner, and still be really successful, right? You don't have to sacrifice your personal happiness to build these empires, right? And so there was this one book that I read, and you should pick it up if you have the time. It's called, and if you don't, I'm pretty sure you could probably go onto YouTube now and Google it. But there's this book called Company of One, and it's literally about $1 million businesses that are made by one person. So that doesn't mean that you can't hire contractors, or you can't have, independent contractors or small teams. It's literally companies that aren't trying to be huge empires. Does that make sense? And I remember in the 80s, the 90s, everyone, if you were an entrepreneur, you were trying to build these big companies and these big organizations, right? And so I think there's definitely a space for these, and these, what I want to make clear too, is a lot of these $1 million solopreneurship companies are plumbers, they're electricians, they're coaches, they're fill in the blank. There's people who are selling calendars on Etsy, right? And so when we release that external pressure of trying to build these huge companies to impress people, and if you pivot it to just, wow, how can I make a solid living doing what I love? It changes everything, right? Because I think too many of us are kind of tied to trying to build these huge companies, and then we quit because we don't meet these crazy expectations that society wants from us, or we build in our head. So the term solopreneur, as you know, it's one man, one woman company, right? Where you're in the beginning probably doing a lot of everything. I know when I first started, I literally did everything. All of the posts you saw on Community 7, that wasn't a social media manager, that was me. And as you grow as a solopreneur, you can start hiring contractors or executive assistants or other people to kind of help you in your daily duties. In the United States alone, there are over 41 million solopreneurs. The number of solopreneurs is expected to rise to 45.6 million within the next 5 years. So this is not a small amount. Solopreneurs contribute over $1.3 trillion to the US economy. And some factors that include, that are driving the trend, it's advanced technology, AI, where it's a lot easier to kind of run your own business now because of the technology around it. There's a growing gig economy as well. I have friends who make 6-figure income selling their services on Fiverr, right? And some of these other kind of platforms. And there's just a lot of people who are just, especially after what's going on in the past few years, are just tired. They don't want to go back into the office. And so they're checking out. They're tired of the hostility that they get from corporate America. So they're leaving jobs in favor of starting their own businesses. So before I introduced Amy, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her. Let me just really quickly pin her. Okay. Hi. Thank you so much, Aneta, first for coming. I know you're calling in from Austria, so it's a little late over there. So about Aneta Londa, she is driven by an unwavering passion for inspiring young minds, especially those who may not see a clear path to realizing their dreams. She and her team are on a mission to prove that every young leader possesses the incredible potential to make a difference by doing what they love, regardless of their background, and by dismantling the conventional limits placed upon them. Which as I'm reading this aloud, I'm just thinking, this is what solopreneurship is really about, right? She built a company that is so in line with her path and her movement to finding her purpose. So about her company, Moonshot Pirates. Moonshot Pirates is on a mission to educate and empower young individuals aged 15 to 20 and guiding them to craft innovative solutions for some of the world's most pressing challenges, from hunger to poverty to climate changes. The impact of Moonshot Pirates is nothing short of remarkable. Some of the young pioneers who have completed her program have secured internships at prestigious institutions like NASA and Google. And while others have founded their own companies in the heart of Silicon Valley. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction and for sharing also your story. It reminds me, I mean, I come from the other side of the world, right? But it reminds me so much of what I've been through and what I faced. I wasn't really, let go from the company. I made a decision myself, but there were many fears that also kind of came up when I was doing that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are kind of watching this right now, or even in the live Zoom audience, that have kind of experienced the same, where, you either A, get laid off at a company, or B, you just feel like there's something more than the life you're living at this point, right? Like where
Absolutely.
are just so tired of the office politics, and sometimes it's just a passion to build something that's like burning in your brain, and this passion, which sounds like what you went. So tell us about what inspired you to become a solopreneur. Like,
maybe I just elaborate on that solopreneur thing, because I'm actually a couplepreneur, because I co-founded with my husband by now. Before it was my partner. So I'm not in it together, which makes things sometimes easier, sometimes harder. We can touch on that later. But it's not just me who founded Moonshot Pirates, just also to give the credit to Marco. For me personally, it kind of started all back in 2015, which is like oh my God, it's been a while. Yeah. I have been living in Vienna, which is one of the most beautiful cities, safer cities to live. I think it was even voted as one of the best cities to live. I had a secured job. I was global head of events in quite a successful company, paid well, traveled a lot. So on paper, kind of like successful, right? But I was coming every day from work and I was completely drained of energy. I really realized that I was not I was not in sync with what was the company purpose and what was my purpose in life, what was my vision for life. And that was the moment where I also joined a wonderful community of TEDx. I don't know if some of you know TED Talks, TED conferences. So I organized one here in Austria. And there I've met wonderful people working on amazing things. And I helped them to get on the stage, publish their talks, see them. And they were so inspired by what they were doing. And I was just watching them, 27 years old, I was like, what am I doing? Why are they standing there sharing what they are passionate about, changing the world? And I'm here, making sure that they are being heard, which is not a bad thing, right? But like, why am I not following my passions? And at the same time, actually, met our friend. His job title is a dream developer, and he asked me a very, very important question. Aneta, what is your dream? And that for me was like, oh, wait a second, what do I say? So I sound cool. So I sound, that I have huge dreams. But for me, it was like, I have never really thought about it. When I was younger, I have never really asked myself, what is my passion? What is my dream in life? I always follow this kind of, okay, school, good grades, good university, get a good job that is paid well, and be happy, right? And that kind of happened, but not really the happy part. And for me, it was really just a point in my life where I was like, aha, wait a second, I need to do something different. And that was also when we talked together with Marco, my co-founder, that when we were younger, we had similar experiences in life. Nobody really ever asked us, okay, what are you passionate about? What can you do with it? How can you use it to contribute in this world, to provide value? Because when you provide value, the things will follow. And we were just thinking, okay, now that we have this network of people and we have this knowledge, what would have happened if we would have that earlier, this TEDx network that we had, this knowledge that came out of the people that we were meeting. And that was like, okay, let's do this for young people. Let's connect them with inspiring mentors and experts. Let's make sure that they think about what they are passionate about at the early stage, and with that also figure how they can contribute to this world.
So I really, no, that's so inspiring. And the part where you said, well, what am I doing? I'm building these other people and I'm putting them on stage and they're following their dreams, but how about me? And it made me kind of flash back. So some of you don't know this about me, but I actually started in the music industry and I was a booking agent. So I booked a lot of these pretty famous artists. And I just remember I was just so frustrated and fed up when I quit. And I just remember thinking, as a booking agent, FYI, you take 15 to 20% of your client's performance fee. So if they perform for 100,000, you're making 10,000, let's say, if it's 10%. And I was like, I don't want to be someone's 10%. And that was the big realization for me. It was like, I don't want to be making these people famous. People I don't really even, some of my artists were wonderful, but some of them weren't. And I was just like, I don't want to be 10% of someone else's career. And I think the same could be probably said when I was building these other companies as an entrepreneur for these companies. Is like, how do I build my passion? I'm building other people's passion. And I think that's kind of what you did. So this is the tricky part. You found your passion. But I always think of the whole, the ikigai. You've seen the 4 concentric circle, right? For Japanese, for your reason for being. And it's 4 circles. What do you love? What does the world want? What can you get paid for? And what are you good at? So you might be good at something, you might be passionate about it, but if no one's going to pay for you to do it, or if the world doesn't need it, then you're not going to be very successful because you're not going to be able to pay your mortgage or the lights or the rent, right? So you found your passion. How did you then turn it into a profession?
So I think for us, it was really about realizing that, about testing it. So we tested it. We said, okay, we know what helped us, which was this network, which was this, connections, which was this knowledge. And we were like, let's do a test. Let's do a test for young people and see, what happens. So it really started with a small thing, 30 young people boot camp in the middle of nowhere in Austria. And after this boot camp, which was 3 days, 30 young people, 15 mentors, where they really within 3 days developed amazing ideas. The pirates, as we call them now, came to us and they said, I have learned more in 3 days than in 13 years at school. And that was the moment for us where we're like, okay, wait a second, we are onto something big here. We didn't really know how to make money at the beginning. It was just, okay, it feels right. It was this gut feeling. And I'm a strong believer that if you provide value in this world, the money will follow at some point. Of course, you need to, you need to pay your employees, or you need to pay the people, that are working for you. But if you focus on how you make money, you are not in it for the right reason, in my opinion. If you focus on how you can make difference in people's lives, you will figure out the ways, because people want to pay for things that bring them value. And for us, it's a bit different. So with Moonshot Pirates, we work with young people 15 to 20 from all around the world. We have young people from more than 150 countries, from US to Bangladesh, India, Indonesia. And for us at the beginning was really important that we make sure that every young person has the opportunity to join our programs. That's when we decided young people will never pay for those programs. And that, of course, was challenging, because if it's not the young people who are paying for the programs, who is going to do that, right? And we have found, we kind of closed the circle, because we have seen the brilliance of the youth and the ideas that they come with, and the values that they bring on the table, that on one hand, we are working with young people, but on the other hand, we are working also with experts and companies. And it's actually the companies that pay for the program. So first, the young people can participate, but also the companies can learn a lot from the innovations of the young people and from how they think. So yeah, it kind of closed the circle, and we are here for now 6 years nearly, and it works.
I love that. And I love that whole notion of like, find what you're passionate about, build it, and then the funding, you'll figure it out as you and I have a love-hate relationship with some of the advice that's given on social media. And I see a lot of this movement of, don't speak, don't give your work for free. And I totally understand that, because if you are a seasoned professional, you should get compensated for, your expertise. But then if you give that advice as a blanket and you're first starting your career or you're first starting your business, you have to, in some ways, build your brand and build the validity, or even speaking, like in a speaking engagements, you need to practice a lot in order to get better. And I think it's that notion of like, you have to practice your craft. You have to build a product that people want. You can't just come into a market and just expect everyone to fall in love with it before you
Absolutely
in that, that effort. So what were some of the initial challenges that you faced when you were first getting this off the ground, and how did you overcome them?
Wow, so many challenges, and we are still facing them, right? Life of an entrepreneur is a constant roller coaster, and lots of failures on the way. So for me personally, was actually this, I would say more on the personal side, was overcoming this fear of failure on a big scale, because I have been raised in a way where I was told I only have to have straight A's. And if I had anything else, it was unacceptable. I even remember I gave up on some of my hobbies because I felt like I was not perfect. So I kind of learned to do only things where I was perfect, which, well, let's be honest, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're starting something new, if you're doing something that was never done before, you will face a lot of those like times where we don't feel perfect, where you feel like an imposter. And that was really one big for me, to kind of make sure that I take failure as something that I can grow from. And I'm still learning to overcome that. Okay, hey, I am actually an entrepreneur. This thing of am I just playing here, or is it an imposter kind of thing? So this was more on the personal, to accept that what I do or what we do with Moonshot Pirates actually contributes and people like it. So that was more on the personal side. On the business side, was definitely so one of the things at the beginning, completely when we started. With Moonshot Pirates, we want to empower young people to really think big and get, out of their comfort zone and set up big goals for themselves. That doesn't mean they need to reach them, but it kind of gives them a direction. And when you talk, especially maybe here in Austria, where we started, about this moonshot thinking or thinking big, people are like, oh my God, are you a sect? That was the first thing that actually we got an email when we first organized our bootcamp. Hey, from a mom that asked us if we are a sect. So which was kind of funny. So you just want to empower young people to simply try out things, right? And just overcoming this first steps where your brand might not be that known, where people are like, okay, what is this? Like, empowering young people to think big, like. So this was definitely one of the initial ones. And of course, we already touched it. It's the money issue, right? When you are doing something from the scratch, where you are basically bootstrapping the whole thing, you need to still find ways of how to finance the whole thing. And as we decided that young people will never pay for the programs that we offer, finding partners and making sure they understand that it's important to empower the next generation leaders is important, and it's important to work with them. It's also sometimes, especially if we are here in where I come from, or where we work at this moment, it's challenging to convince sometimes companies of why to join those programs.
So there's actually a question in the comment from Stephanie Lopez. So you talked about the partnership. Can you talk more about the influence of partnerships in developing the business? And how did you nurture those relationships, and identify who those partners would be?
So am I getting the question right, of maybe how the partnerships are kind of shaping what we do as well? Like if we were not maybe afraid, or because that was one thing that at the beginning we were questioning, okay, we wanted to kind of protect the young people from the companies. We wanted to make sure that we are not kind of using them so they, provide ideas to the companies. But soon we have realized that it is important that the young people connect with those companies, because at some point either they are going to be employed or it might be their customers, and it's really important to put them out there and put them on the same level. So we have opened up more to those kind of company partnerships. I'm not sure if I'm getting it right, but it's simply like, we had a set of values that we have a set of values that we say, okay, everything that happens at Moonshot Pirates is on eye level. So it doesn't matter if you're a 15-year-old pirate working on an idea, or you are, an innovation manager at Volkswagen, for instance, you are working together on an eye level. And that was very important. And we always, whenever we work with partners or mentors, this is the first thing that we, share to both sides.
I love that. And so can you give us some dynamics? You mentioned that you are, like I said, duopreneurship. You run this with your partner.
I don't know how to say it either.
The official name is. But
yeah.
What were some of the dynamics of running this business with your life partner?
Oh.
You have kids now too, right?
We have one, we have a 2-year-old pirate, firstborn pirate called Theo. Actually, I think I have a little picture here in the background. It's rather dark, but yeah.
And running a business together, I can't imagine it. How do you kind of deal with work-life balance? How do you?
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, it's work. It's definitely work. And when we started with Marco, we were not married yet. We were a couple, and people have warned us, founding a business with your partner first post, it's a terrible idea. You will not find investors in the future if you're looking for them. People will not want to work for you because of the dynamics. You will only talk about work, and so on. You will fight and it will go completely south. But for us with Marco, we have worked with each other before. We worked together in TEDx, and we really saw that it works. Like we have completely different ways of working, and we really know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we can really balance that. What I love about this, that we do that, is that we share a common passion, and that really also helps our relationship, because we always have something to talk about. We definitely could be better in kind of separating this work and life, but then on the other hand, it's our life too. Moonshot Pirates is our life too. So we do not really have this kind of separations that, okay, this is work, this is life, this is vacation, this is, we just, it's all part of the journey. And we of course have a set of kind of rules that we follow, because otherwise we would probably kill each other sometimes. But one thing that, we know that if we disagree on something with business, that doesn't mean that, we don't love each other, that we don't agree with each other on a personal level. So for us, it's okay. And I think sometimes it's even better, because we can give each other really super clear feedback and not go around, not put too much of fuss around, but really go straight. Okay, I don't like it because of this and this and that, and not just well, how can I tell it to you? So it's really nice that we can be super straightforward with each other. Second thing definitely is if we are in a fight, whether it is within business or personal, I put the dishes into the dishwasher in the wrong way, or he didn't separated his laundry, whatever that is, we never go to sleep angry. This is our rule number one, because first, you don't sleep well, second, you wake up with a terrible feeling. So it's really like throughout the time that we are with each other, I think it happened 3 times that we went to sleep without solving an issue, and it never felt right. So solve an issue without, before you go to sleep. And the thing is, like, yes, we are also a pirate, parents to a pirate. What we don't have this kind of okay, you are a mom and you are a businessman, you are a dad, and I am a businesswoman. It's like there is no hierarchy. We are together as a couple, and we do things together, right? So there is no no imbalance of power, you can say, basically.
I want to go back to what you were originally saying as one of your obstacles, which is the fear of failure. And I so related to everything you said, because I feel like my mom and your mom probably knew each other. Sharing parenting advice, because if I got an A, why did you get an A plus? It's never this satisfied. So there's this kind of need for perfection, right? And I firmly believe that girls are taught more that it's important for them to be perfect, right? If you think about ballet, if you think about some of the, the need to look a certain way and all this other, there's more of that pressure put on women. And not to say that men don't suffer from perfectionism, because they do. But I think it's especially important to teach our young girls. How do you, and I also think of how, I've used this analogy before on these conversations, but I always think to Sarah Blakely, who's the CEO of Spanx. And she tells a story about how her father wanted the kids not to be afraid of failure. So every day during dinner, they would go around and they would talk about their failure for the day. And they would actually applaud and celebrate the failures. And when you have that mentality of not being afraid to fail, it gives you more room to be innovative. It gives you more room to become an entrepreneur. Because if you want perfection, don't become an entrepreneur. Don't start your own business, right? How do you teach your 2-year-old how to be fearless and how to be brave and how to, not be afraid of failure? I mean, I know right now, so he's probably doesn't care about failure.
Oh, he fails constantly on his head, on his everywhere. Wow. How do we teach them? Honestly, like, I don't know if I'm doing it right. He's just 2 years old. Like, I can't say, I could read 10,000 books and then listen to 10,000 videos of how to parent and give advices until he kind of grows up. I really don't know how it's gonna go, but like, we are just, one thing that we do a lot is we show him that we trust him, even though that he's 2 years old. We do let him do a lot of things on his own, climb wherever he wants to, being there but not really helping him. For instance, even if it's on a playground, if it's like something that looks too big for him, I let him do it. I'm there behind him, but I'm letting him do it on his own. If he fails, hopefully not like badly or something, I am there to tell him, hey, it hurts, but I'm here. I understand, it's gonna be fine. It's just giving him the space to try out the things without like doing too much for him, and like knowing that if he does it, hey, you failed, but it's okay, just try it again. Just do it. I don't know, there is this wonderful book from Esther Wojcicki. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. She has raised 3 super successful daughters, and she has a book which is called How to Raise Successful Children. And she talks actually about 4 things, or 5 things. Sorry, it's called the trick method. Where she says, okay, what you need in order to raise successful children is T, that stands for trust. Trust your children to do the things on their own. R is respect. Respect your children's opinions. So I always in the morning, even though he's 2 years old, I'll tell him, hey, go and pick up your shirt. whatever you want. And he likes those kind of where they have a little, you know, think on still this little how do you call it,
The tag.
Yeah, like a tag, and he likes to do these kind of things. So he always picks the same shirt, but I let him, you know, do it because I respect what he wants. E stands for independence. So really, when he started to eat on his own, we let him to eat by his hands on the table, and with that, he, you know, learned how to eat. It was freaking messy, and you need to get used to it, but like, just show him that he can do things independently. If we are doing laundry, he helps me to do the laundry, you know, he gives me the things, you know. I really tried, even though he's 2 years old, so he does things on his own independently. I think C stands for collaboration. So again, like, do things together. And K in the end, it stands for kindness. So I think that's a wonderful thing that we should be all doing, whatever we are doing in life, just be kind to each other. And I just love this method because apparently it worked. I mean, one of her daughters, I think she was a former CEO of YouTube. The other one, anthropologist, and the third one founded also a company in Silicon Valley. And yeah, I just found this as a beautiful method of how to, you know, raise your children. But I think one thing that as parents we need to also accept is that we will make a lot of also missteps and failures on our way, and then that's okay. I've made a lot already, and I'm sure I will make a lot. But I think the most important thing is to show your children that you love them.
And what I love about those 5 steps to those 5 things is that I think all of us as just humans, as adults, can learn so much from all of those things in terms of building business and working with people and collaborating. So tell us a little bit more about the importance of networking and building relationships for success, because that's the one thing that I'm always like pounding on people who are like, you know, they're very successful in their career. Maybe they're working for a Fortune 10 company and they devote all of their lives to these companies. And then when they leave, they're like, okay, I didn't network. Because I was so busy building the brand. And, you know, like, how important has networking been in the success of your company?
Completely invaluable. Like, really, it's one of valuable. Sorry. So yes, the most important things, because our business is built on people. So we have a network of over 450 mentors that support the young people in their projects and ideas, and we had to get those mentors somewhere, right? So it's really about spreading the word, spreading what you do, you know, going to conferences, reaching out to people on LinkedIn. It's really, you know, you can have amazing idea, you can have amazing job, but if you don't share about your idea, if you do not like make people excited about what you do, then the idea is going to be there, but no one will really follow. So you need to go and talk to people and be yourself, be authentic. I think it's no matter what you're going to do, whether it is this business or the next business, the connection that you had maybe 3 years ago when you went to that conference, you know, and talked to that people might help you in 10 years of a time, right? It doesn't need to be now. So see it as building, you know, your network of people. So yeah, I think it's really important.
And we have another question in the comments from Stephanie. So same thing with networking, but in a different way. How did the young people find, you know, your organization? Like, how did you market to them? Because that's a different type of networking, right?
Oh yeah. Well, how do we market to young people? So wow. Okay, that's a big question, but with Moonshot Pirates, maybe I can start with the name a little bit. It could because we work with 15 to 20-year-old, and want to be taken seriously, right? They are no kids. And that was the first thing. We will never call them kids. They are young adults, young leaders, young minds, pirates. It's really important about speaking their language. They want to be taken seriously on an eye level. It's what we do. Hey, simply ask them, do you have an idea that can change the world? Or do you want to contribute with your idea? So it's about you. It's really just focusing on their personal self. Speak the language of the young people simply. What we do by now is we use the platforms where they are, which in our case is mostly Instagram, and that's where they find us. Yeah, I'm not sure what I can add here, but simply speak their language.
No, I think that's super helpful. So you didn't have like a huge advertising budget. A lot of it was word of mouth.
Oh, no. So we bootstrapped the whole thing. So we started with small things, and yeah, we always find workarounds. And by now it's really the young people talking about the company itself, or bringing their friends to become Moonshot Pirates. So really right now it's a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah. And you know, kind of on that same vein, because I remember when I was starting Community of Seven, I was so used to being an entrepreneur where I had $1 million budgets and I had marketing budgets, and it was like, you're starting your own thing, you have $0, or you might have, you know, like, how do you get the word out? And so I did a lot of like social posting. Many of you guys have probably found me because I post online. And at first, I didn't even post as myself. I posted as Community of Seven for 3 years before I started posting as Lan Phan. And so for me, it was really uncomfortable because I'm more of an introvert. I don't like to be in the public eye. But then I also realized that I had to lean into my passion. If I really want to help people, if I really want to build Community of Seven, my business and my influence and what I do, if I want to help people, I need to build my social presence, right? Yeah. It means being a little bit uncomfortable, right? What strategies did you use to build a strong online presence and attract clients or these future pirates, like funders or, you know, sponsors? Like, what did you do to kind of build your company initially? Yeah.
So I think what you said is people follow people, right? So you can be posting as much as you want from your company side, but in the end, it's all about you personally speaking to the people, right? So I think it's important to have your own social media presence as well. And I know that I can be way better there. You are completely amazing. I mean, you are an example for everyone here. We started small. We started with one platform, you know, on Instagram, where we focus really on young people. We went to schools. We, you know, reached out to them through different organizations, and it built up step by step without any budget back then. When it comes to partners, so we have basically two main streams of communication. One is towards the young people, where you need to pick the platform where they are, which for us was, we realized, Instagram, and towards the partners, which is more perhaps on LinkedIn for us. And you need to have different communication. So for young people, you're communicating more on, okay, do you want to make a difference in the world? Do you want to, you know, connect with mentors and experts that can help you, you know, to kickstart your ideas? Do you want to find your passion? So it's all more on this kind of personal feelings, also maybe like solving their pain points, like think of what stage in life they are. They are, for us, leaving high schools, maybe deciding what they want to do in their life, and they might be a little bit confused, right? And I think with Moonshot Pirates, what we give them is a confidence of kind of assurance that things will be all right, because no matter what path you follow, you will have the skills that you need in no matter job that you will do. And like, the job that they might be doing now, they will not do anyways in 10 years of a time, right? And when it came to the partners, it's again a different conversation, different messages that we are focusing on. Hey, it is important to support the young leaders today because there are so many challenges that our world is facing, and it will need to be solved. And you really want to have young people that are, that understand what's going on in the world, that have the network to tackle those challenges, and that have the skills to do that. So it's important to onboard those companies through that. And there are, of course, different reasons also why companies join, such as talent pool, or a peek into innovation and what's going on. But yeah, you just need to choose your channels and the proper communication, finding out what is the pain point to the target customer that you're speaking.
I love that. And so if you can kind of rewind and think about, if you can share any lessons learned from your journey that you wish you knew when you started, what would that be?
I think one thing is set yourself a big goal, but don't be so impatient, which I am a lot of the time, because we do have a big goal. We really want to reach as many young people as possible and give them the opportunity that we are giving them, but it's not done from day one to the second one. Don't compare yourself to your big goal where you're standing now. Compare yourself to what you have done, where you have been in the past. If I now think, if I would tell myself when I was 6 years ago that, hey, we will reach 10,000 young people in 150 countries, we will work with organizations like Volkswagen, DHL, we will win fundings and things like that, I would have never believed myself. I would be too scared actually to go into it. So never compare yourself to your big goal, but to what you have maybe been a couple of years ahead. And also don't compare yourself to the people around you. Stand by your vision, stand by your mission, and just follow that step by step, and be patient.
I remember this piece of advice that this entrepreneur gave me, and he was make your goals big and enormous, but your expectations reasonable.
Yes.
Because I think we have such big expectations, and when we don't meet it, we're like, I might as well quit. I'm a failure.
Yeah.
And I really like the whole Japanese concept of kansai. What is it? Mispronouncing it, but it's just this whole notion of constant improvement. And instead of looking at like this whole notion of overnight success, and you're going to kind of come with a Kaizen. Yes. Thank you, Matthew. I was like, what is it? Kaizen, thank you, of this constant improvement. And so just work on daily, just becoming a little bit better each day. And as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, I think it's important for you to just like do your best, what you can with the resource that you have, and just work on getting a little bit better each day.
I agree with you on that. It's like there's this concept of 1% better every day. The thing what people don't see usually is that you do 1%, but it's exponential then in the end. The more you do, the more exponentially you're going to grow. So it might look like a small step on your journey, but that once you spin the wheel, the wheel starts to spin faster and faster and faster. So the more you put in the work, the better results will come. So yes, absolutely.
Exactly. We're making our luck, right? By hard work and opportunity, putting yourself in the right place, networking, and then the opportunity comes, but you have to be ready for it, right?
Yes. Open door, and just know that everything is figure outable. There will be failures, but you can always stand up and, continue.
Exactly. And you learn as much from the failing and the fall as you do the successes.
Yes.
I want to open it up for questions. Does anyone in the Zoom audience want to ask a question? Or even if you're on the live stream, feel free to kind of ask your question in the comments as well. Anyone have a question? I think I asked some of the questions that we had earlier. No? If not, let me go up with my kind of follow-up question. Let me see. have a few questions, but let me focus on the one that I think would be most helpful for the people who are kind of watching this right now. Do you have any recommendations of resources, courses, books, YouTube videos, whatever it is, that have been particularly helpful for you? Like the folks who are on this call, some of them are current solopreneurs, some of them are aspiring solopreneurs. What, like for me, reading that Company of One was really helpful because it made me think that I always had this notion that you had to either be a huge entrepreneur and get venture funding and had to build these companies, or you had to work for someone. And I realized, wow, you can be successful just being a small company and, you know, even make more money as a solopreneur and have more work-life balance because you don't have to manage a team of 100 or 200 or 300, right? What were some of the resources that was helpful for you?
Wow, so many, I would say. On the personal side, because like as I said at the beginning, I've been, you know, I've been struggling with this fear of failure and this like kind of I'm not perfect enough. I'm like every day is like a little thing. It can kind of like shoot you out of your track. And there is one book that I have been reading last year continuously because there were like a lot of things that were not going right last year. And the book is called 365 Meditation of a Daily Stoic. And it's like one little page a day that kind of reminds you that you are on the right track. It's about, okay, how you overcome failure, how you face adversity, you know, and it's just like these little inputs every day. So it's really like maybe not one big course, but it's just like doing one thing every day that keeps you on track, whether it is going for a run or doing yoga in the morning, doing meditation, like keep yourself constantly on track. And this one book was really a game changer for me because it just like kept me going every day. So I can then put it there. Another book that I really liked was it's called Skip the Line. I think it was James Altucher wrote it. And it's all about that you don't have to wait for anyone giving you permission to do a thing. You don't have to, you know, do this role first and jump to this role to get, you know, to this, you know, this corporate ladder. No, you can do your own thing, or you can be that person over here.
And that's what I love about solopreneurship, is that you don't have to wait. Because with technology, AI, all these other things, this webinar right now, I couldn't have done this 5 years before. You need to have a huge infrastructure, you know, like a camera crew or whatnot. And we're able to do this. I love this whole notion of you don't have to ask for permission, because I think the old model was you had to get funding. You need to find a venture capital to fund your company. And with these solopreneurships, it can start with you just having a Zoom camera, getting your contacts and saying, hey, I'm going to be an executive coach. Can I coach you? Or I want to do this. You know what I mean? Can I consult for you? And I think that it opens so much possibility with.
There's so many free resources nowadays, so many free tools. Like really, I'm a magician when it comes to cooking with water, really. Sorry?
What are some of the tools that you use?
The tools, like online tools, or
anything that
any tools. I mean, ChatGPT, for instance, right? Like I don't know who doesn't use it nowadays. Like there are so many plugins, and it's my 3 employees, if I can say, you know. That's definitely one of the big things that changed the way we work. I
have one more question for you that I want to ask. Matthew, can you unmute and ask your question, or do you want me to ask it for you? It's a great question.
Can you hear me, Lan?
I can hear you.
Okay, my audio wasn't working last time. It's so great to meet you.
Oh, Kaizen too. I was like,
hey,
you have like a brain fart, and I was like, what is it?
I just knew it because I work in quality. My question for you, Aneta, is since feedback isn't always obvious or immediate, how do you know you're still on the right path with your journey? And I think you touched on this a little bit with you know, kind of having daily practices and, you know, sticking to what applying what you're learning.
So do I get it right, Matthew? Is it my personal journey or the journey of Moonshot Pirates with our company?
Your company.
Our company. So what we do, since we work with young people, we really want to make sure that what we are doing actually contributes to the development of young people. What we have done the second year into our business, we appointed a board of young advisors. So each year we select 6 young advisors that are building Moonshot Pirates alongside us. And every strategic decision, every step we do goes through them as well. We ask them from simple things to big decisions. We really want to make sure that we are not building Moonshot Pirates for young people, but with young people. And that was, I think, game changer for us, really, when it came to Moonshot Pirates.
Love that.
I know that it's not about numbers here, as you're in equality, but this is more about making sure that what we do matters, and we see it then on numbers. We see it on how many people join our programs. We see it on partners that are returning to do programs with us.
And I know we have to kind of close to, but I want to highlight how important Matthew's question was or is, because we are taught not to quit. And so that can be a good or bad thing, because you know, I always kind of think of that Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold, know when to fold them. And there's points where you need to know how to walk away, right? And so I think it kind of goes back to that whole notion of constant optimization as well, right? You can't be so stuck in your way, especially as an entrepreneur starting your own business, especially if it's your own money, right? That you basically burn things to the ground because you don't want to quit this one path if it's the wrong way. And I think part of it is just to be open to constant optimization. Like for me, when I was building the core, it was successful. It was like these masterminds that I was building, but I was like, this is not how I want to, it's just too time consuming for me personally. And so I moved away from the core, even though it was successful, because I was like, I really like doing training and development in corporations, going into a company and then leaving, opposed to having these one-on-one coaching calls or whatnot. And it was a hard move for me, but I realized this wasn't, it wasn't giving up. It was just me pivoting. It was a course correction, right? And
Absolutely.
I think as an entrepreneur to make a lot of course corrections, and it's not quitting. Great. So time is up. Everyone, thank you so much for coming out. If you can, turn on your videos so that we could give a huge round of applause to Aneta. This was so inspiring. Thank you. And I hope you guys all unmute yourself, give her a clap. And I hope to hear from you guys in terms of starting your own passions and your own companies. And make sure you reach out to me on LinkedIn and Aneta, and please support her organization. Wait, where can we find you, Aneta?
You can find us on our website, moonshotpirates.com, or LinkedIn. Also, feel free to connect with me, or Instagram, basically. That's where you find us. We're a global organization. Everything what we do works online. We work with mentors, so if you feel like you want to contribute, to the younger generation out there with your knowledge, please feel free to always reach out and connect with us.
I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. That was so inspiring.